Which path are you going to take? Yesterday I went for a run and I had two choices. I could go left and take the easy route where it's going to be mostly flat surface for the beginning, knowing that I was going to have some challenges and some hills towards the tail end of the run. On the opposite end, I could go right and take the hill and the challenges up front and know that that's going to give me a lot more options and flexibility for the tail end of the run. I could ride that momentum and keep up that speed and run even faster, or I could relax a little bit and just take it easy on that second half of the run and still make good time. So how that relates to your personal financial life is a lot of people tend to take the easier route just because it's the default option. They're not really thinking about what's important to them. They're not planning necessarily. And so that's the option that you can definitely take. When you take that route, though, there are hills, and those hills start to turn into mountains the longer you wait to try to achieve those different things. And so be aware of that. If you're going to be taking the easy route initially, it's going to be a little bit more challenging towards the end. And if you want to compare it to running, and this may not be for everyone, but for the way I approach running and my fitness is I'm not too consistent with it. And so it gets harder for me to run sometimes, and running up hills and running through some of those obstacles that before I used to really enjoy. And also just the ability or the want to actually get up and run is not the same as it was before. So that actually could happen with your financial situation as well. You may think that you can just click and all of a sudden start saving a lot more towards the tail end of your working career, but that's not always the case. It's easier said than done. And so make sure that you're keeping that in balance and in check. That just because you are going to have to save a lot doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that you're going to be able to actually do that once you get mid and late career. So the opposite end is you could take on some of those challenges up front. Say, I want to take that hill. I want to take those challenges. And what it looks like from the financial standpoint would be saving pretty aggressively, making sure that you're avoiding too many lifestyle expenses that come at the cost of high interest debt. So definitely want to avoid those things. And by doing that, you're probably not living as easy of a lifestyle, as luxurious of a lifestyle initially, but you're doing all the right things. And by doing so, you're going to be investing in assets that are going to be hopefully have the ability to outpace inflation. And what happens is as you do that for 10 or 20 years, you're going to start to accumulate assets that are going to be working just as hard as you are. And they're going to be able to make the rest of that time frame that you're going to be working towards those goals to be able to use that momentum where you can take your foot off the pedal if you want to. You have a lot more flexibility. A lot of people change careers a few times over the course of their lifetime. And so that could be an opportunity there. You did all the hard work up front, but now you want to transition to a career that's not as lucrative, or you're not going to be getting paid as much. So it gives you a lot more flexibility and options. And yeah, it just makes your life a little bit easier if you tackle some of those things up front and you kind of have that discipline to do the hard work up front. And also after having children the last few years, you can I can definitely say that it's better to take on those hills and challenges before you have a lot of different responsibilities, because expenses and costs do add up just over time. Even if you do try to keep those things minimal, they just all add up over time. So hopefully that was insightful and gives you a couple things to think about when you're thinking about your personal finance and what you could be doing now to potentially shift and try to take on some of those hills earlier on in the time frame that you have, rather than wait until the very end, because it's going to be very scary if you wait too long and they look more like mountains than hills by the time you get to them. So take care, and hopefully that gave you a few things to think about.